Say good morning, and thank you all guys for being here. I ran on accountability and transparency, and I want you to understand that that's a difficult road sometimes. And as we work through issues that come up inevitably in every organization, we have stuff that we need to talk about. We're public employees. We answer to the public as an elected chief, and so that means a lot to me, and I'm not a kind of guy that just says something and never follows through. So in the case, we're going to give an update in regards to the situation that occurred, that we gave a press conference on about the Lakeview incident with an SRO. On March 13th, the San Angelo Police Department was contacted to conduct an investigation of an inappropriate relationship between an educator and a student at Lakeview High School. Our Criminal Investigations Division responded and conducted that investigation. During the investigation, communication was also found between that same student and one of our school resource officers. That officer was found to be Jonathan Montana, and from the moment that this came to light, I want to make it clear there was never any allegations of criminal wrongdoing. However, we make sure, right? We trust but verify. We look at every angle to make sure, because we don't want something being no stone left unturned. And in the course of that, though, with it being such a serious nature of allegations of what we were seeing, and especially in what we call conduct unbecoming, we placed that officer on administrative leave with pay. And during that time frame, we conducted our internal investigation alongside the completion of our criminal investigation from our CID, alongside an investigation from the Sheriff's Department, because we believe in transparency, right? So you can't just not have somebody else look at this, right? We want another organization. And with that being said, the Sheriff's Department is, the Sheriff Hanna in particular, was a longtime Texas Ranger and one of the best Texas Rangers I've ever had the pleasure of working with. He understands criminal investigations and internal investigations better than probably anybody I know. So we trust him with that, and so that they began their investigation. And that communication, you can have something that is lawful but awful, is what we sometimes say in law enforcement. We found no wrongdoing through our criminal investigation, through the Sheriff's Department criminal investigation. But again, I wanted another layer of protection there, so we contacted the District Attorney's Office to review all the information, all the body camera, everything that we'd done in our investigation. And that information came to light that there was no criminal wrongdoing. However, just because it doesn't meet a criminal standard, we have higher standards inside the San Angelo Police Department. And the conduct that did occur was not in line with our procedures and who we believe we should be. In the course of that investigation, the officer decided to separate from the agency, and we concluded our investigation at the time of that separation. And I'd like to keep these two separate because we're going to go into another one, so I'll open for questions on that. Okay. Yes, sir. All right, we're going to move into another one. We're going to deal with, yesterday, one of the San Angelo Police Department officers, Rodrigo Hernandez, was arrested in the course of an investigation that has been ongoing since March 26th. On that date, a San Angelo police supervisor reviewed body-worn camera footage of an incident that occurred, and they realized right away that Officer Hernandez did not meet the required reporting standards under the law of an incident that occurred. The seriousness of this and what many would classify as a gross negligence in this was what prompted us to see that this was a violation of the law and that it merited a criminal review. And so we paused our internal investigation, right? Because we'd started a complaint that was definitely not in line with the standards of the police department. But we paused our internal review and we turned that case over to the Tom Green County Sheriff's Department. I know the sheriff himself was working in this, and we wanted to let that go through. And I think that's important to understand that we fall under what's called civil service. It's 143 of the local government, of the Texas Government Code. And so there's certain laws that we have to follow as a part of the San Angelo Police Department that we are obligated to follow. And so when we did this internal investigation, we restricted his duty initially, just when we had the internal, and then when we turned it over to the Sheriff's Department and realized that this was going to meet the standard, that we placed him on administrative leave with pay. Again, we're following procedures so that's laid forth under civil service. As soon as the Sheriff Department completed their investigation, they turned it over to the Tom Green County Attorney's Office. And we received information that this was going to be prosecuted because of the nature of it. Now, I want to make it clear that our next steps that we took do not force any merit to the criminal case, right? They are separate, or they are not connected, and that's why you see that verbiage, and also why you see the word temporary, because temporary is something that we look at based under what I'm allowed to do under the law. That is law of the Government Code 154.056 that allows us to place people on unpaid leave. So still currently a member, but unpaid. That's a different step than what we've done in the past. Usually what we'd see with criminal investigations in the past, we would just simply place them on paid leave and let that run through. If probable cause exists that you've committed a crime, and that's been alleged, the judge has looked at this, then we're going to place people on unpaid leave. And then we'll walk through our internal investigation. And so that's where we're at in this. The allegation in the law in question is failed to make a required child abuse report. It's a Class A misdemeanor. It's designed for professionals. It's designed that you have a requirement, and the law has said that you have to do certain things, regardless of whether or not you're the police or a teacher or nurse or something of that nature. And so that's where this is at. I want to make it clear that, again, being placed on unpaid leave does not give any merit to the criminal case. It means that that's where we're conducting our internal case, and we will share updates as we go. The law that I reference of 154.056 is a temporary statute inside that process to either be reinstated or to be terminated. If what holds to be true, right, I tell you that that kind of stuff will not be tolerated inside the San Angelo Police Department, but we give due process and we allow the law to go through just like every other citizen gets. That due process is important under every aspect of our Constitution and what we stand for. So I want that to be clear, that this is not special treatment from an officer. This is what every citizen gets. And these two cases are in the 1 percentile of our department, right? These do not represent the totality of the hard work that's done every day, but I will not stand by and wait in the shadows when we have stuff that occur that does not meet the standard or that's a violation of the law. And that's what, even though it's hard, we will walk through being transparent and open. So I will open that up for questions.
How often do you go through police officer body?
Yeah, so we have some sergeants do it more than others, but we look at that once a month. There's a set number that we require supervisors to review, and we keep logs of that.
Is this if it's part of the investigation, I understand, but was this something that could have easily missed, or is this something that could be trained to be watched out for more, or something like that?
I would say that it's of such a nature that it prompted this, right? So this is not something that's just willy-nilly. We look at as mistakes, right? The law is pretty explicit in that, and so without going into more detail than that, then that's where we have to stay at, because again, we're respecting due process, and we're not going to release information that is as an ongoing criminal side, and that's what we used to say in the 90s, right? This is an ongoing criminal, no statement. I'll tell you what's going on. I just can't tell you the aspect of some things, why we waited, right, talking about the other officer, right, is because we have a process, we have laws we have to follow under the local government code and under procedures, and that's important to us. I will say that no matter what the outcome of this case, we are going to make sure that students and youth are taken care of. The most vulnerable of citizens We will stand by, regardless of whether or not you're the police or you're an average person. We will hold the standard fairly across the board. Thank you all very much.